Welcome to this episode of Achievers, and today we are celebrating our own achiever, Mr. Rani, who is the director of Silulo, Ulutho, right here in Cape Town. Mr. Rani, on the 26th of September 2024,
yes,
we'll be celebrating 20 years of impacting lives. Can tell us a bit of background, how it all started. I understand your mom inspired you. I was reading a story about your mom, how she inspired you to venture into entrepreneurship. And it's not easy for an African child to venture into business and still surviving at 20 years afterwards.
Yes. No, thanks so much, Charles. I mean, like, it's an honor for me to be part of the interview.
Thank you.
Indeed, I mean, Silulo's will be celebrating 20 years. So it took me back when I used to be a teacher in Kailicha, teaching accounting and business economics. If you remember that time, it was the time that government was introducing a new curriculum, which is outcome-based education.
All right.
And I saw teachers were struggling with computers. And I resigned, started selling second-hand computers in Butroveka, not knowing when I was resigning in terms of like how things will turn out to be. So it's a story for starting from nothing with my brother, where we used to go to school. People were saying to us, we are not okay, we are not okay. Like, how do we resign and then start selling computers? And where we didn't have any funding, any support, any kind of like mentorship, but we just see the need of computers. But we never also realized that there's a huge digital divide in the community. And hence we started with the internet cafe and opening a school. And then it took us 5 years to get the model right.
Okay.
It was just a hustling in the beginning.
You know, if I look at it, like you rightfully said, I think from our chat prior to the shooting, you said many people are afraid of the unknown. And it's very true. There are people who have got great dreams, but they've never achieved them or realized them because of that. Tell us what really inspired you and to quit your job, a secure job, and venture into the unknown. And remember, at that time, digital was not a thing in Africa.
Yes.
And you, if you spoke of an incident whereby you say you were blacklisted at one point, and all that, like, how did you manage to conquer it?
I think if I look at it now, it's my background. Because my mother used to run a shebeen in a township, and then it was illegal for my mother to run a shebeen. So police used to come and arrest my mother, and she would come back and able to sell. And that was more than anything a fuel for the entrepreneurship. Because when I passed grade 12, come to university, I was not sure what I wanted to do with. It took me years, even after teaching. I mean, when I was 30 years, only realized that this is kind of something that I want to do it, and I want to spend my rest of my life to be an entrepreneur. So I kind of think more than anything that it was shaped by my upbringing. It was shaped by the poverty I grew up with that makes me to start and run the business.
And looking at the name, Silulo, Ulutho. Like, what's the context of it in your business?
It means three meanings.
Okay.
So Silulo, it's our abbreviation, three founders.
All right.
It's like SI stand for Si Gribo, LU Luvuyo, LO Lonwabo.
Okay.
And then another meaning, it means, Silulo means we bring value through technology. So we bring value through technologies. And then the third meaning, it's our values. So our values, the SI stand for we are service to our community. The I, we are inspiration to our community. The L, we are organization that it's ongoing learning. We learn every time.
As you go.
And U stand for Ubuntu, so we succeed to other people. And then the L for loyalty. We are loyalty to our communities. And O, it's all about ownership. So that's how Silulo means in nutshell.
It's quite a rich meaning. It's quite a rich meaning, and it actually gives you an insight of what exactly that you do. Mr. Rani, if I'm looking at, I was reading an article, and majority of African businesses, they don't survive beyond 5 years. And then I was asking myself, why is it the case? And I looked at some of the reasons that were given. Most of the reasons had to do with trust. People don't trust what the business person is offering.
Yes.
And if I'm looking at your track record, I'm looking at your article here when you went to an article that was written by World Economic Forum. It says the brand has become one of the most trusted service providers.
Yeah.
And then there's a student also was doing his dissertation from UCT. He wrote that I immediately felt a connection with him, and what convinced me to pursue a case on Silulo was just how willing and honest Luvuyo was when talking about his business. The honesty and self-awareness of the directors provided the perfect foundation for building. And now it makes a lot of sense when you talked about one of your pillars is Silulo is loyalty. Tell us, what would be your advice to other black entrepreneurs about trust? What is the value of trust in business?
So for me, it's a cornerstone for Silulo. It's a cornerstone for me individually. It's a cornerstone even for me now. I'm involving with the foundation now. It's a trust. It's a currency that I have in that trust.
I love it. It's the currency.
It's a currency because I trade with trust more than anything. Because most problem, in fact, what I'm seeing, I might be wrong. Most problem, and I think it's problem I might be right, because as a black businesses, we come from poverty. So we never had money before. So when we do business, we're just focusing on money. So we're not focusing in terms of building us first, building the business first, instead of like focusing on the bottom. So when you're building, when you focus on money, sometimes you compromise on yourself. Sometimes you're desperate. Sometimes you don't do things that we promise to be doing that. But if you're focusing on trust, you build credibility, you build integrity, you build, a kind of social capital to extend that over the years you could able to use it.
I really, really like, your explanation, your understanding of these things is quite rich. Seriously, you say it is the currency. And majority are failing because they don't have the currency.
It is. They're looking for currency. I don't feel currency. We don't feel as black people. We just like looking for solid. That's the problem.
You're too excited.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at one of the biggest problems also. We are still on those elements that are leading to destruction, poor performance of other business, to their demise is financial and personal discipline. And to be honest with you, surviving 20 years in business, dealing with people, empowering people, it takes a lot of financial and personal discipline.
Yes.
What has been your secret to financial and personal discipline, and what would be your advice to other entrepreneurs?
So for me, something that it becomes I learn. It's just like, if you cannot manage your personal finance, you can't manage the business finance. If you're struggling on a daily, on your own personal, if you cannot live in your own means, you live beyond, you'll never ever manage the business finance, because it starts to you as a founder to make sure that you are in the space of disciplines, which means that you live in your own means. That's one thing that I learned. And second thing, what I learned, that you cannot able to scale it if you cannot nail it.
You cannot able to
scale it, you cannot grow it if you cannot nail it. Get it right before you're able to grow. So the problem is like, we want to grow, but the foundation is like
shaky.
But we want to grow. And then over time it's going to be a problem, because the foundation, it was not so edified now. So that's like, it's one. And that foundation starts mostly with you as an individual. So the biggest growth in a business, it's not about your business, it's your personal growth. You growing now. So if you can't grow, your business won't able to grow. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you have to grow. It's because it grows, it evolves. Because you can have amazing businesses to go down. Because that's kind of how the growth of any product now. So you need to able to master you.
Understand
yourself first before you understand your business. If you can understand yourself, find other people that are going to assist you and are able to grow your business.
And looking at it, I'm really excited for people who are being mentored by you, because your depth of understanding entrepreneurship is quite rich. And to date, how many entrepreneurs have you empowered?
So last year, I started the Silulo Foundation.
Okay,
so after 18 years being a CEO of Silulo, and then now I'm no longer kind of like I sit on the board of Silulo. I'm not involved with Silulo now. So I started with the entrepreneurs. So I've done 3 cohorts now. So I'm able to impact more than 120 entrepreneurs. As like probably 98 who are actively involved with the program, with the business, and the business are growing now. Even with the value of the funding or the resources that able to bring in now, probably closer to 10 million within 18 months now. And that was caused by that social capital, that trust. Because all these 18 years of a journey, I never go to anyone ask for anything. So I built Silulo, with my brother, with the team. So Nuna, the sister-in-law, we build these businesses with our sweat and build these businesses now. And then when I started with the foundation, it was the first time for me to go out and ask for help. And it was easy for me to get the help. Because I've been helping people, many people. Because I already have credibility. So it was easy.
People trust.
That's a trust. So it's easy to go and open the doors because they know in terms of like the integrity, they know that my word, it's my word. They know in terms of how I conduct myself, and they know that the work I'm doing for the foundation is the betterment of many black people who can have access now. So that's how that transparency is key. If you do anything so people can able to trust you. And that trust is only way that value of the resources, the money, the support from the businesses, it goes through that, because it's not possible to start the organization within a year. You receive so much support with big businesses, with the government, and want to work with you because they know that I've done it and I built this thing from nothing, and I've got that trust that they're able to kind of put resources. So that resources, they know it doesn't come from me, it goes to the beneficiaries.
And then, Mr. Hani, you are very strategic. I was looking at one of your writing. You said when you didn't have the money to sponsor the business, you would exchange commercial publicity for a pair of computers. And now, many people would want to start looking for finance before they've got something tangible that can weigh on their trust, how trustworthy they are. Tell me, how does it come to be like these epic strategies that are quite sharp? So
if I had a tattoo, because I don't have a tattoo, I don't have tattoos, you will see the part will be leveraging. It's like I'm a big leverage. So everything I've done, it's like leveraging.
It's calculated.
So it's obvious, it's very clear, exactly. Wait, when we started Silulo, we didn't have money to buy computers. We went to our suppliers and asked to give us 10 computers. And he gave us 10 computers we paid every month. And when we want to work with a local radio station, we didn't have money to buy the airtime to the radio. We take one of the 10 computers and we give the radio. And get the airtime to the radio and
which is very important.
Which is very important.
Affordable at that level.
We didn't have money to pay. It was like 5,000 plus something that time. We take one of the computers that we're renting and then we put it to the radio and say, and we have a trust that this thing's going to work now. And once we realized that, no man, there are houses in Kaidisha that are strategic and people taxis are going through with them. And we went to this house and said, we want to paint your house. In return, we'll give you a computer scheme. And that painting still here 20 years there. Now.
Name Silulo is
still there. And now, in terms, so always about. Even when we didn't have money for the bank, when we listed in terms of we went to SAB Kickstart, we win the competition, we went to the foundation, we never get money to the bank. We went to the philanthropic foundation, we get 5% interest for us now. We went to a telco companies, like MWeb or Telcom or Vodacom, and use the enterprise funding to fund us now. So my point is when your back is against the wall, there's always a way. And the second point is you always have something to offer. And see a possibility on leveraging or bartering and able to say, how can you able to give what you have in return? It's not about money.
So let me just say this to those who are watching. If you have gone through Mr. Hani's hands, he has been mentoring you and you have flopped, no, that's not yours. It's not yours. You are not an entrepreneur. That's it. Because, I mean, honestly speaking, your level of thinking, your level of reasoning within the circles of entrepreneurship is quite rich. Look at it, we are talking of awareness or the publicity for 20 years. 20 listen, that was done 20 years ago. So this is quite brilliant. This is quite brilliant. Mr. Rani, I've been, and I spoke earlier when I said many people, we have, each and every year, we see thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of IT graduates in Africa. And not only IT, even engineering. But to date, majority of the product that we consume in Africa are foreign.
Yes.
How can this be solved? Especially in this digital age that we're existing.
Yeah, no, I mean, you must understand this historical context that where we are now. Colonization, apartheid, I mean, this was part of the divide and rule of the black person. I mean, especially in South Africa, where you were in a system where, say, you can't be taught mathematics, you can't work for, you can't be a master, you must work for the master. And so those are things that damages our people as Africans. To extent that we become more consumer now. We don't produce, we don't kind of come up with them. And I think it's we are generation that we're changing that now. Because the most important is more, I mean, like for a moment, maybe if we become hard now, like, I normally say that you can't dream it if you cannot see it.
That's true.
So if you don't have examples, and what you do now, profiling and able to go to this individual and understand like and share their stories. Someone who's like looking at and listening, that person being impacted to able to look at that. So what you need in Africa, you need truly an example on the ground. People are ordinary who are trying to make it and use those examples to showcase that it's possible now. Just like we have a noise, people never build anything, never have a sponsor shop, they're talking about entrepreneur, they never even done anything, but people who are really making a difference, they're not getting the platform to able to showcase what they do now. So we need to have stories, example, we need to kind of like shift the narrative, like we can, and we can, and we can be able to produce, and I believe now, and I see the energy now. Now I normally go around the world and say, this is the time for Africa. And I mean that. I like that. This is African time. This is more than our time now. More than anything, like, and I'm at time. I mean, they are saying that 2020, 2050, like in the next 6 years now, out of 10 children being born, 4 will come from Africa. So Africa is going to go to like 2.5 billions that comes in now to show the buying power, the interest is going to be in Africa now. They are saying already there are some signs now that even in globally now around Amapiano, Afrobeat, that is taking over now from the music now. If you look at from the awards, the Grammy, it's been Africans. If you look at from fashion, and it's Africans. Even from the politics now, you could get. So Africa already is shaping the world now. The West is coming and looking for Africa. What is needed from us? We need to be confident and having that ability now to think globally and able to kind of say that everywhere I am in Africa, I can have my product, which is available around the world now, which is the internet. It gives that opportunity to have that kind of thing. So I'm believing that there's no other time to be alive than this time. No other time you can be an entrepreneur, social entrepreneur. This is like Africa providing that kind of opportunity.
And one of the biggest problems is there might be some innovations that are there. For example, recently I was chatting to some Uber drivers. There have been 5 apps, e-hailing apps that have been developed which are African, but all of them they collapse. And these guys are not adopting. So the other problem, the biggest problem comes from the consumers. They are not adopting.
Yes.
So they are complaining again with the trust issues, the principles. And so as Silulo, how are you fighting this? Despite us telling the story, how are you fighting to ensure that the consumers, the guys who are, like I understand you're impacting in terms of trust, and the consumers, how do you think best they can be made aware? So
we kind of like look at in any economy or any spaces, even any types of township, you need an entrepreneur, you need capital, you need a sponsor. We need individuals
Yes.
that willing to invest on these businesses. We need individuals that they walk the talk, they understand the talk now, so they can open these opportunities. Uber is not producing here. It's not going to open opportunities. It's going to take it
That's
over.
the thing.
I mean,
That's
like
the thing.
for that, and it's going to continue
Yeah.
making us smaller guys. Our guys not able to like that. But we need some African individuals who are finding and able to fund these businesses, to support this business and handhold this business and work with this business in allowing this idea, this innovation that can come in now. We need the government that have a policy and kind of understanding now that the investment beyond giving grant has to be from smaller businesses, because they are going to enable now to environment to come in now. We need from investors and funders realizing now, instead of giving so much from legal man of the money, that they has to kind of look at those innovators on the ground who are making difference, that can be investing like. So you need to kind of change the entire ecosystem. Because all of these things, the ecosystem. It's not only by individuals, so these guys are not smart enough, they like. It's just because the ecosystem doesn't allow that innovation now. So that innovation, to make sure that like it has to be all of these things, it's about the ecosystem. If it's not there, we need to build our own ecosystem in Africa.
That suits our needs.
Because
we are
that
the
become
only
relevant.
Yeah, we understand our solutions, our problems better.
No longer time that we have to look from somewhere. We are the solution, providers. And I think what we try to do at Silulo, we're showing that, black men, wake up. This is like
possible.
The communities. You could do that, and you don't have to make any noise. Your action will determine in terms of where we're moving forward.
And looking at it as Africa, I think it's common knowledge that we are endowed with minerals, a lot of minerals. And if we could capitalize on that, we can go far away.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that not many black people have ventured into that. What do you think could be the problem? And as Silulo, have you ever had people, entrepreneurs that you've mentored who are venturing into minerals?
Quite interesting. It was when it was like Friday morning, 5:30 in the morning, I had kind of like the conversation around mining and seeing how we could, Silulo Foundation, work with the minings, across the African, where with the program that we're running, we can able to like look at that, because the economic beneficiation is quite important. The local economic empowerment is quite important. The program that are meant to kind of, it's so much vital around these kind of things. And there's some interventions from mining that they are doing, but it's not making any difference in that regard now. So there's now willingness, the big businesses. The person I was speaking on, she's based in Australia, she's managing the fund, and she's looking at in terms of
African.
how. No, she's the UN. There's a big fund globally, that's fund in terms of like, they're kind of part of the mining in Daba, but they're kind of looking at now, how can they able to, like, they really look at solutions now. I think just need us as Africans now to be ready for this opportunity. But I can tell you, the next years, there's going to be some money that is going to come from Africa. That is going to be based around innovation. It's just needed us as the entrepreneurs to be ready to understand in terms of how can that money we can utilize it to benefit and betterment our business now. So we are slowly looking at that, and I think we have to move beyond the natural resources to be able to move in from a tech point of view, and also moving in now from probably the tertiary sector where there's much more impact that we could do it now. So there's way from up and a down where we could able to say, how can we us as especially the youth of Africa be a solution with this problem instead of
to
like,
our own problems.
This problem is not going to be solved by politicians. They're clueless. They can talk about them. This problem is going to be solved by entrepreneurs and innovators.
I always say it, my own definition of an entrepreneur or investor is a problem solver.
Right.
Somebody who solves problems in exchange for money.
Yes. That's like what's like.
So really,
right.
And I think to those who are listening, Mr. Khanye is actually telling us something which is of greater depth. And we only need to utilize what we have. And one other thing that I think is lacking, I don't know what's your take on that. Our school curriculum is not really doing enough to shape entrepreneurship.
It's quite interesting also that part. I'm now part of the program Silulo Foundation. We work with the university now. So we started partnering with University of the Western Cape. And I'm also doing guest lecturing with the nanoscience students who are more entrepreneur. And 2 weeks later, I was meeting with the CBUT on the science and mathematics faculty, also the driving entrepreneurs now. Next August, I'll be guest lecture at UJ, University. It's also about entrepreneurship now. So there's a realization now from a government that entrepreneur, every facet, every faculty in the university need to have entrepreneur. That's kind of encouraging now. And there has also been talks about the government to take this drive also to TVET college and also from high school now. There's a drive now to look for entrepreneurship. The thing is, yeah, the thing is, even from everyone in government, even we know it, there's no choice.
Yeah,
there's no jobs.
If we have to survive,
there's no choice. We have to, like, AI is like killing. In fact, the economy is not, able to grow now. It needs new energy. It needs entrepreneur.
That's very true.
So the entrepreneur are not so needed. It's not a question of just like we do this thing as if like old ways now 20 years back, like we need entrepreneur. Now, if we don't do it, we will create a problem, which is unemployed youth that are not able to find employment now. But by exposing them from high school to university, we prepare them to create employment instead of looking employment.
Which is what we need more. And then you mentioned IA. It's quite a hot topic. What's the future for Africa in regards to IA, and what is your plan, since you are somebody who is one of the major players in the ICT in digital space in Africa? Yeah, no,
it was interesting this year again. I was in Davos. There were two things that I came in Davos. One, it was more the need of social innovators, social entrepreneurs. So there's a huge realization now from big businesses that in the world, not only Africa, that the social innovators are key component of the solution of this problem. And there's money now that big businesses are putting in now to support that, because they are saying that the social innovators, the sector, it's about it's like 2 trillion rand sector. It's bigger than the fashion sector now. So it's bigger sector now. So they look at 1.1 trillion rand to beef up that sector, to grow that sector in terms of, that's one part now. And the second thing that came in from Davos, it was more AI. So everywhere you go to AI, it's the way to go. And I think it's an interesting time, it's exciting times from AI now, because it makes much more easier for the jobs that you could do it. So those rotten jobs that you do frequently can be done by computer. That's how the kind of like the robots or computers are able to take over of the work now. And it opens much more opportunity now. But the biggest problem, if our government is not adopting with the AI, is not putting policies, is not moving with the time, Africa will be left out in the AI. Because the most important, it's like the most economy, most like, it's like when power, electricity was discovered, AI is that kind of thing now. So if any government is like, as much we talk about mineral resources, it's more about AI. If any government in country is not reskilling and skilling up on people around AI, people are going to be unemployed.
I was listening to a video yesterday that says if we are to survive the future, we need to change or to remodel our education system from instruction to discovery. That's kind of a key. Yes. It's now, even part of these tools now, we need to make sure that we really push many individuals to be innovators, to be problem solvers in the way they are. So as part of these tools and the skills that they have it from the AI, they can solve problems that computer cannot solve. Yes. That's how the AI will take over the kind of job that are there, but there will be new jobs that are going to come in now. But those jobs, to be able to be filled, you need to be skilled enough to understand those jobs now. That's what the opportunity comes in now, which is like we are living in a space where things are changing, and that's what they need now. It's just like saying to everyone, including myself, including you, to everyone, like no longer having, I've got a degree now. It's just like education is going to be ongoing on, reskilling, upskilling, learn, unlearn. So that's how we are going to survive in this world. Because if you look at us, the distinction that is going to give us survival beyond when IA is in full swing is us. We're able to feel, we're able to empathize, we're able to. So in other words, the ethics on all those things. So that's where we need to capitalize. Yeah,
a key. And I think also us as those are most skills that the computers and the AI cannot able to kind of do. And that's what we like. I mean, our well-being. I mean, the way we kind of connect with human beings, feelings. Those are going to be biggest, and this is going to be biggest sector now, because as AI comes in, it creates anxieties, mental health. I mean, people are called depression now. True. But there's a sector that is, I mean, like is growing now of people. I mean, look at the well-being, meditation. I mean, having time. So those are kind of like sectors that are coming. These are industries that are growing.
And many people are not realizing that.
That's like kind of because of because of all of these things are too much for individuals. I mean, you cannot compete with a robot. I mean, you kind of like, I mean, it doesn't sleep. I mean, there's no way that you can. So that's what the problem, like, I mean, are causing those problems. So we just need to understand that for us, we need agility, we need critical thinking, we need confidence, we need able to kind of like knowing that we are living in a changing world where things are moving very fast to extend that we need to be in that space where we'll be resilient enough to live in that, because never ever things have been done the way it's been done before.
Just to the last one before we close up, we have been explaining. We talked a lot about social. What do you call it? Social investment, social
capital.
Social capital.
Yeah.
So can you please elaborate on that? What is it exactly?
So social capital is more. I mean, I was talking about it that you build yourself a trust. You build yourself a network. You have much more connection and credibility that we have.
So you're investing in intangible qualities.
Intangible things that beyond money. There's no money.
That are also important assets.
That's like what you have. So that when your name or when your organization has been known for that. That give you kind of a currency as like much like it give you value. It give you value. So that when you go out looking for funding, for support, people, they're not able to question who you are.
Even customers.
They will not say like how our money is going to be. I mean, they will have a trust. So anything you're able to offer, you could offer. It's the same thing with Silulo. If we decide tomorrow to form a political party, we could. or want to open a church, I mean, it could be. Because you build social capital. So that's how you build social capital. You are part of the network. You are part of, because in this world we're living in now, it's no longer about you individual. It's about collaboration. It's about partnership. You are working with and that you could do that when you build yourself, so people can able to trust you.
So we are talking of intangible assets that are indispensable in every business. And I think that's the biggest thing that has been lacking in our African businesses. These social investment, social capital. So I really appreciate your time, Mr. Rani. It's been a pleasure engaging with you, and actually I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
So in my next entrepreneur chapter, there is my new coach.
No, but I appreciate it. I mean, I enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Keep on doing amazing. I mean,
thank you so much.
You need to kind of put different pedestals for many entrepreneurs, individuals that do difference, because those stories must be told, and everything that you do, you must know that it's going to be seen in years to come. Keep on pushing as a team and everyone to pushing these dreams of us as Africa by Africans.
And I really appreciate that we are telling our own story, not waiting for somebody to come from somewhere.
It's quite important. It's quite important. It's our time.
Let's tell it our own way and solve our own problem. So guys, thank you so much. We have been sitting here with Mr. Rani, and they're very rich, as you can relate to what we have been discussing. So thank you, Mr. Rani.
Appreciate it.
All the best.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.